feel like architects would salivate at the sight of like the soft grays over here. You see? These ones. Imagine being able to create these really soft shadows really quickly on your elevations or your plans once you've printed them out, or if you want to hand render them. Tools matter, right? Tools matter. Having stationery, even 1 or 2 pens or markers or something, can really elevate the final look of the thing that you're working on, whether it's a presentation board for an architectural project, something you're preparing for a client, something you're doing for, another school project or something. So I suggest you go ahead and buy any wacky thing that you find in a stationery. Hello there. Thank you for stopping by. I'm Winta. I'm a visual artist, writer, architect based in Ethiopia, the capital city, and I make videos like this where I chat about creativity and other things. So thank you for stopping by. I'm gonna jump right into it because the past couple of months now actually have kind of been like the dream days of teenage me or child me, because I've loved stationery since I was a kid, and I just wanted to get my paws on every marker and crayon and pencil, pen, and all sorts of things out there. And maybe not all of them, but there were a few that kind of intrigued me. And that fascination hasn't stopped over the years. It didn't help that I went to architecture school and I met other stationery lovers and people who loved experimenting with whatever pen and color pencils, markers, other things that we could find. Unfortunately, we couldn't find a lot of products to work with here, but it was really cool to see what we can do with what we had available to us and with what we can buy, because in architecture school, you really use what you buy. You buy markers, you're going to use them to render them. You find uses for a lot of the things. You can use it to add details to models and so on. I'm going to just jump into what I've done with some of the things I bought or some of the things that I got my paws on for some time. So I am going to start with alcohol markers, because those markers, oh my goodness, I bought like 3 of them, not these 3. My aunt, I asked her to get me a few, and she did. So she got me the Copic markers, the Copic alcohol markers, and they were gorgeous. The colors laid down beautifully. They were great to layer with. It was just beautiful, amazing. And I became obsessed with them. I ran out of ink at some point after like a year or 2 of using them. So I've just been saving up and trying to see what other alcohol markers I can get. I wanted to get a bigger set. So I got a set of the mid-tone alcohol markers, these ones. And I this week created a render with them. This is kind of what I wanted to do with them. So I did this. I don't know if it shows. And this was basically all alcohol markers. This was all the Ohuhu markers that I just showed you right now. And I wasn't really happy with how the sky turned out. I feel like that kind of ruined it for me. But I really wanted to make something that would show the activity of the people over here, like the stalls and what they can do with them. This is part of the project that I'm doing with ABC, and I just wanted to show this to the person who designed it and to see if this is something that can show what the building would be about better than, let's say, a digital rendering. And it was just an experiment and an excuse for me to take these out and use them. These alcohol markers, oh my goodness, I love them. And I feel like this video is just going to be me talking about how stationery does matter to an extent, and having tools that really help you enhance your creativity or help you experiment in ways that you haven't before, or even speed up your work. It really does affect how you execute your work and affects your process in a way. And I wanted to just show you guys quickly what I did after I came home. Or actually, I finished this morning. This is just a random drawing I did with an Ohuhu marker and Sharpie, a black marker, pens. All I did was I put down what I had in mind. Like, I've met these people, this organization, where they asked, or they kind of want to revamp or to maybe elevate what they have, their designs in every way. So their interior design, their brochure, the giveaways, their freebies, and even potentially like digital media and other things. They just presented to me what they do, what they're about, and they asked me if they're effective enough and if their visuals are effective enough in communicating what they do. So it was a big thing to internalize and to take home and sit with and see how things wouldn't just be rebranded or just the visuals would be switched up, but to me also for their entire vision to be funneled down to the main message or the main goal that they have. Because to me that was I think that's the main thing that you need to communicate to someone you'll be meeting for the first time, or an investor or a potential donor or someone who you want to properly understand what it is that you're trying to do for whatever reason. So I don't think of it as like this precious thing of like, oh, I need to make this art and I need to, I'm going to show this. I don't think I'm going to show this to them, to the people I made this about. This isn't for showing it to them. This is mostly for me and for seeing where else I can take it from now on, because I had these visuals in my mind and I just wanted to lay them down on a paper in one place. So like one big chart or and this is still not big enough. So I feel like I'm going to still analyze what it is that I'm trying to say, or my first impression, and try to turn it into something through time, because I don't know exactly how I can help them yet, or how I can be of service to help them elevate their message that they're trying to communicate, or the story that they're trying to tell. Yeah, that was something else that really stuck out to me. I didn't want this I felt like it was just a series of goals, and I wanted to tie it all together into one thread, into one storyline. And the stationery, the markers and all of that just kind of helped me lay that first impression and that first idea down. Yeah, I do. I also wanted to show you this thing that I did with the alcohol markers on my sketchbook. This was just a draft. I did this to see how it would look, the alcohol markers would look for food illustrations. This was kind of my fırfır dish. I'm obsessed with fırfır, and I wanted to see how I can use it for creating food illustrations, because I've seen other artists do a very good job at it. It's really inspiring. So I wanted to see if I can do something similar and maybe make a bigger collection of that. I feel like if by now you're still here, you're probably someone who's also obsessed with stationery. And if not, I'm really surprised you're still sticking around, because I met a few people who also lost their minds when I showed them, for example, my swatching the 2 pages of Neuland markers that I swatched. I mean, look at that. Just look at this. Oh my goodness. The colors are vibrant and they don't bleed on the other side. Like, look, this is the next page. And this is the, you see? This didn't bleed on here. There's barely some ghosting. I think it's called ghosting. I'm not sure. On the other side, but it's barely there, barely visible. So I was really excited to see that. To see products or a tool that can do that, because it's just something that's on my mind, if you're going to draw with a marker on a normal A4 paper, it's going to bleed on the other side and you're going to ruin 2 or 3 pages. But this does not even ruin the page that it's on. You can easily write on the next page. So that was just something I was so excited about, because I had no idea that this even existed as an option for me. So this just makes me feel like I can buy regular sketchbooks. I made this sketchbook, by the way. I think you can't tell, because I made it very quickly just to swatch on. This is just for swatching. I just called it my visual vocabulary, even though I didn't really add much visuals. Oh, and this is the Neuland white markers. I don't really like how they turned up. They were kind of pale. I was hoping they would be more opaque than this, but they weren't. So these are the Neulands. They're different from the Ohuhus. These are water-based markers. The Ohuhus are alcohol-based markers. And my whole point with talking about all the stationery is, yeah, I'm bragging about how much cool stationery I had the chance to use, because I don't know, it's just something I'm excited about. And I don't know, I want you guys, if you're stationery lovers yourselves, to know that there are these options out there. You can, if you love the effect that watercolor paints, there is the option of getting that watercolor effect without committing to watercolor, because to me watercolor is quite intimidating. You have to really know how to control it takes a certain level of expertise. So imagine having markers that are pastel enough, or this wouldn't be a good example because I think I kind of didn't have enough restraint for this and I lost it at some point. I really went all in and I just kept adding elements and colors. But you can really achieve that effect with alcohol markers. The rendering is really smooth and soft. And it's a beautiful alternative in a way, and an easier to learn alternative than watercolor, let's say. So I don't know if you have a sketchbook lying around somewhere, or you have like a thicker paper, because for alcohol markers you need the thick paper. You can't work with the normal sketchbook like you do with the Neulands. The Neulands are designed to not kill papers, thin papers like this, but the alcohol markers aren't. So if you have a thick paper lying around, I suggest you buy maybe a set of 3 or 4 alcohol markers. They don't have to be the Ohuhus. There are a lot of cheaper options out there. And with the Neulands, if you're someone who wants to, let's say, start drawing or just have a couple of colors, I think it's a really good option to buy these markers, the ones that I just showed you, these ones, the ones that don't ruin the page. It's nice to have these as an option, I think, to have like maybe 1 or 2 of these colors. I didn't like all of these colors, by the way. I put a green star next to the ones I liked, and a red star next to the ones that I didn't like, because there were a few that I felt like had a grainier consistency or a grainier feel to them when I laid them down on the paper. It's like the formulas changed even among the colors. So there's the black ones that are gorgeous, and they have a shiny finish. These are, again, the Neuland markers, and they don't ruin the other page, the other side. They barely like leave a tiny, very faded, ghosting, very faded mark on the other side. But otherwise, I suggest you go ahead and buy any wacky thing that you find in a stationery. If you live in Addis Ababa, I'm going to leave a couple of map points that you can visit and you can see for yourself. Maybe buy a few pens, a few of those ink pens. Some of them I feel they're very sensitive. You drop them and they stop working. So that's been really infuriating for me. But I think it's worth trying out. You never know. I feel like that would really in my last video I was talking about how you can start a drawing habit, and I feel like a lot of people have started, but they either felt demotivated or they felt like it wasn't for them, or maybe the bar for starting was kind of too high. It was just it maybe felt a little too intimidating. So I think buying 1 or 2 pens, or buying 1 or 2 markers or tools, or something you've never used before, can be really encouraging for you to just take the thing out and start doodling and scribbling and just being comfortable with it and seeing if this thing is for you. If it's not for you, you can gift it to a friend. You don't need to, no one's forcing you to keep it. So I also wanted to show you the pastels that I bought from Girma, from his stationery. He changed the locations. There was a person who we bought from when we were in architecture school, and he changed his location. I might share it here if I know where it is. Now I'm going to ask him. But I'm going to show you what I got. I bought the set of oil pastels because I really wanted to try out oil pastels. And I just started. I felt like they were really good for coloring in huge swaths of, like, huge areas on paper. But they're not going to bleed on the other side. They're not going to cause a lot of mess. So I don't know, I liked playing with them. Yeah, I think I just wanted to say that sometimes having tools that are fun to work with, or a tool that you've never used before, or experimenting with something that sounded or looked intriguing to you is a really cool way to jumpstart or to get back to creativity, doing any kind of visual arts or using art for communication even. So, and also they have this tactile quality. You can't really touch these things, it's something that you just don't get with digital art, I think, with digital drawing. Like I have a pad, a drawing pad and stuff to draw online, to draw on a computer, but it's just not the same. It's just not the same, as like, touching these things and feeling their texture and the friction it has against paper, against different kinds of paper. So that's just about these papers here. The hard papers I always buy from here because there's you can ask them in any stationery. You can here, at least in Addis Ababa, can ask for hard paper. But also, if you can't buy stationery right now, if you're a student, you don't have the resources to purchase anything fancy or any extra materials, that's also not the point, I think, of drawing, or that's not how you really get better, because a lot of artists will tell you, expertise or being a pro is about what you can make with what you do have. So yeah, it's kind of tried to say in a way, but actually my friend, she's a makeup artist, or she's learning how to do makeup better, and she said that it really is, she was just telling me yesterday, it really is about like that shows your skill, being able to do the best with the little things that you do have, which may not be of very high quality, or which you may not have a big variety of. So yeah, I wanted to talk about tools, and I wanted to talk about meeting people or hearing tips from people about not just what tools to use, but also how to use these tools that you thought could only be used in one or two or however number of ways. So I don't know about other fields, but I think in creative fields like architecture or visual facilitation, graphic recording, it really helps to meet people who do something similar as you. So last week or 2 weeks, I think it's been a week and a half, I had the chance to meet a graphic recorder from Italy, and they were a team. And my friend here introduced me to them, and so I was waiting for them to leave their hall in Sheraton Hotel. And actually, side story, but while I was waiting for them, I actually had someone who sat across from me and thought that I was an escort. So that happened. But after that, they finally finished. They were checking out, and we were able to have a cool chat about the tools that they use. I saw that the person who does the graphic recording for the meeting, she uses Tombow markers. I saw the markers and I immediately recognized them because I ordered one, and I didn't know that there were graphic recorders who used this marker. I kind of thought, I don't know, I didn't think that this was an option, but it also is a reminder that it doesn't really matter what tools you have in a way. This person has probably been doing graphic recording for years, but she uses Tombow markers, and she told me that she is considering buying Neuland markers, the ones that I just showed you, the ones in the sketchbook right here. She's considering buying these, but right now she's using a different set, and I'm thinking of experimenting with the one she has. So we also talked about how they've been combining different tools from different stationaries. She uses those really chunky markers, or they're not really markers, I don't know what they're called. They're like, I see a spider over there. Oh my goodness, it's a spider. Like, it looks like things that those graffiti artists used. She found that the thing from this tool from the graffiti world works really well with graphic recording. I do kind of think or feel like graphic recording is like really similar to graffiti in a way. You're drawing on a very large surface, and you're trying to communicate this very broad ideas, but also capturing phrases and different themes. So she said she uses that So I thought, the more you do this, or the more people you talk to as well, you don't just learn to use the things that were designed for the work that you do, whether it's for architects or for graphic recorders or whatever. You start to delve into different territories and seeing what works for you, for your style and for the things that you're trying to achieve. And you start being brave about buying these or purchasing these different untraditional tools for your field. And I found out cool. And I wouldn't have known this if I didn't talk about this with her, and if I didn't meet her and her colleagues. So shout out to you guys at Matter Group. And I just wanted to talk about those things and say that if you're doing something new, whether it's anything to do with graphic recording, visual facilitation, architecture, visual arts, writing, anything, I think it really, really helps to share what you do and to hear other people's tricks and other people's tips and what they do and how they achieve things, cool results in an easy or in a very creative way. So it's find people and find tools, find things. I think that was the whole point of this video. And try things out and be generous with what you do know and with what you do find. I don't know, this whole trade secrets thing, the more time passes, the more I feel like it's not really beneficial to keep things secret and to hoard information, because I shared a few of the things that I learned with this lady, and she shared some of what she knows with me. And I try to do the same with these videos as well. And I hope, and people have done similar things with me, sharing what they do know and the resources and teachers and tricks and everything that they've come across that I haven't come across yet. So I hope that this video has inspired, or maybe, I don't know, helped you or reminded you of something that you wanted to do or something that you wanted to purchase or try out. And I hope that you have a wonderfully fruitful, creative week ahead, whatever it is that you do, and take care. Bye.